Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, world. Thank you for joining us, Morning Spring, for today. My name remains Femi. Thank you for your time, and always super delighted that you're always here with us every weekday. And this is what we do here at this time, having conversations about issues of public importance, and is geared towards having a better and a functional Nigeria. Good people, great nation. That's why we do this here every day. The first part of the program, we look at the headlines. These is, things that are seen from our major dailies every day, and the papers are in already. At the other side of that, we then get talking, having conversations with policymakers, opinion holders, critical stakeholders in the Nigerian project, especially you as well. We are live on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television, and of course on our other social media platforms. Thank you for joining us. Good morning, and of course, it's a dual thing. It's not just about Femi. Evelyn is there as well.
Good morning,
The lady
Femi.
in red.
How
Good
are you?
morning.
Should I say the man in red? I mean, your red tie is matching too.
Touch of, yeah, thank you.
Welcome, people. It's another day, another blessed day. It's Thursday, right here, the 9th day in the month of May, 2024. We are grateful to God for life, irrespective of the disappointments, failures, downturns of yesterday. We are hopeful for a better today, because they say the sun will rise again and we will try again. So it's another time to try. Do not give up, do not give in, and sure to keep moving, keep going. Definitely there is light at the end of the tunnel. My name is Evelyn Ohiolei, welcoming you specially on board today.
Of course, when she said the sun will shine again, as we're approaching June, maybe not literally, sometimes we might not get to see the sun.
Yeah.
As far as you wake up and then you see the day, is another time, and another short as well. For people in Finland, from persons in some part of Russia, they might not get to see the sun every day. But
Or the day will break again. I
Surely,
think that should be
surely,
the word.
yeah,
The day will break again.
all right.
And of course, we will try again.
Thank you very much. We'll go on this break. When we'll come back, we'll give to you what the papers have for us today. The Morning Spring or Western Spring Television. Stay with us.
All right, welcome back. The papers are in, and I'll start with Daily Independent newspaper this morning. On Daily Independent newspaper, Rivers crisis gets messier as pro-Fubara speaker emerges. With the riders, PDP warns pro-Wike lawmakers against creating anarchy, says impeachment may trigger crisis, derail democracy. Warns APC cannot forcefully take over Rivers, alerts IGP. And of course, yesterday we had an aide of Governor Fubara speak on this, and I remember yesterday where he actually made mention of the fact that at the time he spoke yesterday, Rivers State didn't really have a speaker, and he was also, hinting towards Mr. Victor taking over as the Speaker of the River State House of Assembly. And of course, this morning, yesterday night into this morning, the news was out about the development in River State, talking about the pro-Fubara lawmakers electing Victor Okojumbo as the new Speaker of the River State House of Assembly. So The drama is unfolding, a lot of things going on. The crisis seem not to be abating or waning in Rivers State, and people are looking forward to what more is going to happen. But like we always say, governance should be about the people. What will the people tend to gain or lose as a result of this brouhaha going on in Rivers State? Away from Rivers State, still on Delhi Independent newspaper, minimum wage. Outcome of FG's committee will shape state's decision, says Governor Sule. And cybersecurity levy, FG milking a dying economy. Peter B is speaking. And bill to create unemployment benefit schemes kills second reading at Senate. And claim of $150 million bribe by Binance diversionary. Act of blackmail, FG says, and reps to probe Binance chief escape from NSA custody. That is very important. And court restrains PDP from removing Damagum as acting chairman. All right, the crisis in PDP is also still there, and Damagum still fighting to continue to hold that top position in PDP. 2 weeks after, FG yet to write helicopter operators on new $300 landing levy. Operators query contractor structure, seek meeting with minister. Lament 1,000% rise in airworthiness certificate fee. And Lagos gets 3.9 billion naira as derivation for being oil-producing state. Wow, amazing. That's on page 3. And top corner, Daily Independent newspaper this morning. The front page, Nigerian Army finally leaves Okwama community. And that will be all from the Daily Independent newspaper this morning.
All right, from the Daily Independent, I give to you what we have from the front page of the Daily Trust. The Daily Trust for today rather, and this is boldly written, although not nice at all. Road crashes kill 295, injure 315 in 3 months. Just in 3 months, averagely talking about 90 days, we've lost 295 persons to road crashes, and 315 have been injured, at least documented ones. That is what we are seeing, and speaks to the fact that we must be more careful on the roads as well. And of course, people in charge of infrastructure should do well to maintain our roads properly. The right markings, the right, management when they have to do that, and on time as well, not just after carnage has happened. Moving on, Speaker overrules member calling for suspension of cybersecurity levy. This is one conversation that has turned very controversial since the introduction of that cybersecurity levy, and we learned the accrual will be managed by the office of the NSA. Does he have the power to do that? Is that part of what that office is meant for? Some are even saying, is that office constitutionally known to the law? It's just an arrangement, a political arrangement. But then we get to that in the course of the program as well. Zenith Bank's shareholders approve 125.59 billion naira dividend, and PDP kicks as plot to impeach Fubara thickens. Okay, we spoke at length, just like Evelyn has just said yesterday on these, and the aide to the governor said, who are they? Who are the West? Nobody has that power, and the power belongs to the people. Interesting days ahead. Funtua, inland dry port, will ease import and export from North Mutalab. Funtua is a Katsina state, by the way. And of course, you have this picture at the 33rd annual general meeting of Zenith Bank Limited. But very instructive is the transactions exempted, statistics stating the transactions that are exempted from cybersecurity levy. And of course, you have the schedule of exemptions from cybersecurity levy. That's a diagram, quite a very busy one there. The exemptions include salary payment, loan disbursement and repayment, and interbank placement, intra-branch transfers within a bank, letters of credit, transactions involving banks' internal accounts such as suspense account, quite a lot there, non-profit, non-profit and charitable transactions, including donations to registered non-profit organizations or charities, and savings and deposits, including transactions involving long-term investment such as treasury bills, bonds, and commercial papers, and interbank transfers between customers of the same bank. Talking about the exemptions, there is a lot of that. You might want to pick up a copy of the Daily Trust to have the detail, and that's all that the Daily Trust has for us on its front page for today.
All right, we move over to the Guardian newspaper for this morning. On the Guardian newspaper, inflation major determinant of living wage negotiation, says NLC. That's on page 6. And still with the organized labor, on the Guardian newspaper, trade unions kick, demand reversal of cybersecurity levy. And Lagos State government approves 40,000 or 40%, I beg your pardon, 40% rebate on duties payment, planning permit. Gunmen abduct 13 as kidnapping returns to FCT. All right, we hope the necessary authorities will put things in place to forestall or prevent such further attacks. Reps probe Binance executives escape as FG dismisses bribery claim. And Rivers crisis deepens as pro-Fubara lawmakers elect new speaker. And of course, the new speaker is the man representing Boni constituency, Mr. Honorable Victor Okojumbo there. And more on the Guardian newspaper. Man bags 14 years for sexually assaulting hearing impaired boy. Wow, this is disgusting and irritating.
Very.
14 years. I mean, we should applaud the fact that, you know, is getting the consequences of his action.
Right.
Assaulting rather, hearing impaired boy. Beyond judiciary, public sector deserves equitable salary structure, and these will be all from the Guardian newspaper this morning, the front page.
And away from the Vanguard, we switch to
Away from the Guardian.
the Guardian, rather. We switch to the Vanguard. Thank you very much. Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway, Labour Party, PDP, Rep, Afenifere kick as Umari battles Article. This is one project that the conversation around it has shifted from the substance, from the usefulness of the project to the politics around it. And either it is needed or not, either is what we need right now. Many persons are saying we need it, but do we need it now? Do we have the kind of money to do it now? And it's an 8-year project, according to Mr. Umai, the minister in charge of works himself. And many persons are saying, why the urgency? Why, according to P2B, saying, why can't you just, complete all the abandoned projects in the country, which will better the lives of the people, instead of starting a multi-billionaire, that's a trillionaire project. And, and you're not even sure what's going to happen to that, especially the businesses that have been distorted in this project as well. I take that again. Labour Party, PDP, Rep, Afenifere Kik, Azumai battles Atiku, and Atiku's criticisms induced by political calculations. Umahi, Labour Party asked Tinubu APC to come clean, and we will ensure adequate funding. NAS, as National Assembly. PDP condemns lies surrounding project. Afenifere wants project halted rather. Follow due process. Rep Bamidele Salam tells federal government. Okay, uh, that's they eat a lot at this time, and Mr. Umai is having to, you know, work and battle from different fronts. By the way, politically, and of course, the real essence of his work, which is the Ministry of Works as well. All right, and this is one project that we learned. The cost has been put as 4 billion naira per kilometer. That's quite a lot of money. Cybersecurity Levy would further pauperize Nigerians. TUC will be Northern Coalition. We learned the TUC has even given the government ultimatum to withdraw that particular policy, or they will be on the streets. And military withdraws troops from Okwama. This is one story that maybe I don't know either we should be happy or or sad, because yeah, not about this what happened. What happened is a sad situation. Those that are paid the supreme price have been buried and the remaining immortalized by the way. But then that invasion, of the military and the how they took control, or how they, I don't want to say they took law into their hands, because they were just the alpha and omega while they were there. Even the governor, I mean, the commissioner of police at some point said it wasn't allowed. His men were not allowed there, meaning they wanted to do all they wanted to do, and they now left. Is that how it's supposed to be? This is not, a military junta. This is still democracy. And the governor had to be saying, okay, the military have left. You guys can come back. It doesn't sound well to me.
I believe that's because we do not really have a good handshake between agencies, of government. In this case, the military and the state government, they should actually have been working hand in hand. The government should be in the know of what's happening, or
especially the governor,
of what the military
is a man in charge.
Exactly what the military is doing in that community at the time, and it should always get brief as to what is happening. But over time, we just see the military do what they want to do because they believe that
in an absolute fashion,
they are not accountable to civilians, in that manner. But we should not forget that the governor is the chief security officer, and he has every right to know what's happening in his state. So I believe that it's a Nigerian thing, but we should actually grow, we should develop, we should make progress and do better in situations like this.
Yeah, and maybe the governor was carried along in the proceedings. We will never know, but he wasn't public with that. But the thing is, it appeared at some point like the old Delta State were helpless, and they were just looking at, okay, go and do your thing. Whenever you are through, we'll end our panel of inquiry, Eldin Asaba and the rest of them. It's a lot, really. But that situation that led to what we are discussing now stands contempt in its entirety. By the way, Mr. and Mrs., you mean you and your husband spent hours at the petrol station in search of fuel? Okay. This is two misses, by the way. And the other madam says, yes, we went for fuel. All right. He went to buy petrol and I went for food. Okay, that's not a bad one. That's like killing two birds with a stone. By the way, and just a quick one about this Okwama situation. It obviously some people have to start again their lives right now. They are just have to start over. We learned some places have been burned. Some people's houses. The whole community was overturned because of the search for the suspects and the ammunitions that were carted away. We don't even have that information yet, either it was recovered or not. Some persons were hiding in the bush. The humanitarian angle to this story, I guess we might never know.
Yes, and I'll still go back to the state governments. This is where the state government should actually come in to help people who have been displaced resettle back into the
and then
community.
there is an IDP camp.
So, you know, we always hear of IDP camps, but then what is the situation of the IDP camp? Will provisions be made available? I'm talking about food, proper shelter, and also to get them back on their feet as
Education
to,
for the
you know, their probably farmlands and put them back in business and all of that. We always hear about IDP camps, but the situation of the IDP camps, you and I know that it's not one that is palatable.
Absolutely.
You know, people that have gone through warlike situations, I should put in context here, will have to start over their lives again with fear of probably a reprisal attack or this thing will come back again and all of that. So I believe they should be in the best of environments, the best of situation, so they can have their minds back. We are talking about the IDP camps. We're not even talking about the traumatic experience these people have had to go through and are still going through. You know, do they get therapy? Do they get people that come to speak to them to calm them down? I mean, it's a whole lot. It's a whole lot the government should do.
We recognize some people's lives are gone and can never be retrieved. But then some children, some wives, people's mothers, fathers,
family homes are gone, are ripped.
They might just have, and some persons might never reunite again because they don't even know the whereabouts. Some persons might just be in the forest, they are dead, their families might still be thinking one day they'll
come
return.
back.
It's a lot when things go wrong, by the way. But then that's why we speak to peace. Let's just give peace a chance at every point. And of course, culpability must duly be returned to whatever it should be returned. We'll take a break right now. When we come back, we speak to economy, you know, policies of the government, especially the cybersecurity levy that has been generating controversy. What do you need to know? How does it benefit you or otherwise? We'll be back. All right, you're welcome back, and it's still Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. As we said earlier, before that break, the conversation this morning is about economy and policy, financial policy. Albert, you know, has to do with security as well, cyber security. Just recently, the federal government, through the office of the NSC, National Security Advisor, we learned, you know, as a policy that will make Nigerians, you know, all depositors, by the way, to part with a certain percentage of their fund, and it's called Cybersecurity Levy, you know, and many Nigerians have been saying, what is this again? Why should we have this at this time? In fact, many figures have been bandied as far as the percentage is concerned. Is it 0.5%? Is it 0.005%? And whatever percentage it is this, many Nigerians are saying we can't afford to have anything, you know, that will hamper the way we do things again because of the prevailing, you know, economic situation in the country. But the federal government has come out to say these and these are the reasons why we are doing these, and there are exemptions to these as well. Now, to make a good of that conversation this morning, we are being joined by a critical stakeholder who will educate us, you know, clarify if there is need to do that, you know, on this particular matter. We are being joined by the current chairman of the CIBN. The CIBN is the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, and the MD CEO of Olabisi Onabanjo University Microfinance Bank Limited. And he is also a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, and fellow of the Institute of Taiwan of Nigeria. Equally, a microfinance certified banker. So, of course, you see that we have the right person to speak with today. And he is Mr. Salami Olalekan Mojeed. He joins us this morning. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Thank you very
How
much.
are you this morning?
Very well. We appreciate you
Happy
joining us.
join you live
All
at your
right.
station over there.
Same here. We appreciate, you joining us in part of the exigencies. Very quickly, Nigerians are wondering what is the cybersecurity levy about? That's number one. Number two, we are hearing 0.05%. Some are saying 0.005%. You, as a professional here, you're practically a banker and, of course, a certified one with different, you're a fellow to different institutes and has just read out. Can you please educate us what exactly is this cybersecurity levy about?
Yeah, thank you, the moderator. First and foremost, let me make a disclaimer.
Yeah.
Actually, if you want to invite the institute to speak on anything, we must have gotten that notice,
okay,
for at least for 2 weeks. And with that notice, we have to seek permission from the national headquarters for us to speak to a journalist. So as a result of this, whatever I say here today is personal to me as Alhaji Salami Olalekan, an MD, CEO, Olabisi Obanjo University, Microfinance Bank, not as chairman or chancellor of Bankers of Nigeria, Osun State branch.
All right, fair enough.
So I would like to make that disclaimer first.
Right, noted.
Very interesting, sir. See, Nigerians generally, we always claim, we always make noise after the deed have been done. I was wondering when people were now shouting yesterday, the NSC was shouting about cybersecurity levy. The Serab were shouting. Now I want to ask a question. When were they when this was enacted into laws? We had the first Cyber Crime Prevention and Something Act 2015. We have it again 2018. It was reviewed 2020, and the final one, 2024. In the 20
Okay, we might have to reconnect with Mr. Mojeed. Of course, we have, this is one of the offshoots of technology, bad way. But then we must have this conversation. We understand there are challenges. Okay.
Sorry. Yes, I'm back.
All right, please go ahead.
Yes, I'm back. In 2024, it was stated in section 22, subsection.
Okay, this
network seem not to be friendly this morning. Some days are like that.
Yeah.
But definitely we will work around it and get Mr. Mojeed back.
Yeah, of course.
With us. It's a discussion, a conversation we should have at this time. A lot of people are
especially for
about
education.
Yeah.
And he has started by saying this is not a new one.
Didn't start yesterday.
Yeah.
Didn't start a week ago.
Yeah.
It was a bill that was presented at the floor of the House, debated on, before it became a law in 2024. Yeah. So I think it also speaks to the fact that as people, we should be interested in what goes on in the National Assembly.
Especially things that affect us.
A lot of things,
By the way, everything affects us. We should pay attention to everything.
That's why they are representative of the people. Yeah. They are representative. They are representing the interest of the people.
Whatever I don't know, that's why you have sent your representative there, to do your bidding. And it appears, your guys are as good as mine, because many Nigerians are too busy, to even notice, that kind of a conversation. I can't be, maybe you can't be in Abuja, to know what is going on. That's why you have representatives. And I think this is more time we have to ask more from our representatives. Apart from, the empowerment thing, that they do.
Yeah.
Okay, do this, do that, give us handouts and the rest of it, which is okay if they have that power to do that. But the real business, because they can give us handouts, they can give you handouts, all you know, all you care. But the thing is, there are things that they should pay attention to that affects everybody.
Yes, I'm back now.
All right.
Okay.
I'm back
Please
now.
go ahead.
Back.
Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. So, where were they when this was enacted? I'm back to your question. In 2016, Nigeria government was asked that they are not doing anything on cyber security. And at that point, the federal government cannot fold arms. Through the Central Bank of Nigeria, a circular was raised in 2017, another one in 2018, mandated all banks to put in place a policy on cybersecurity crime, on cybersecurity, including microfinance banks. Most of the microfinance banks spend huge amount of money to a consultant to ensure that to prevent cybersecurity and cybercrime. So as a result of that, we have a settlement, NIPS, Nigeria settlement something. So they are the major person that anchor Nigeria transfer mechanism, payment system. So, and government need to spend on this. But, the kind of government we have today, if you look at the antecedents of the president government, his antecedent is that he always liked to create revenue. When he was the governor of Lagos State, there are a lot of taxes that were not introduced before he became the governor. He introduced it just for him to see money to spend. The same thing with this cybersecurity. While the government is now looking at it, that instead of bringing out money from FAC, from their own share, let Nigerians pay for it. Actually, if you look at the effect of cybercrime, the effect is more on us as a nation than an individual, because it always tarnishes the image of Nigerians. Anywhere you get to in the world, Nigeria is known for that kind of something. So, and if you now leave that poll uncovered, it's not going to be a benefit to the Nigerians. However, why must Nigerians bear the burden of funding the cybersecurity crime? No, the banks are there for business. These are equally collecting their own money. I think instead of imposing it, my personal opinion, instead of imposing it on individual, why can't you ask banks to make certain percentage or certain proportion of their profits after tax to remit it to federal government? You can see which amount of the profit that our banks are declaring. Instead of imposing it on individual, it should have been better that banks, your profit after tax should be used to any something. But when they were making that pronouncement, where were the Sarah, the NSC that are not making noises?
All right.
That is my own concern.
Yeah.
Not knew that. It's not a.
Alhaji Salami, can you hear me?
We all know. Yes, I can hear perfectly.
All right. Very quickly, and you have made a very good point to say, why are the civil society organizations, labor unions, and Nigerians reactive? Why are they reacting now? That is not entirely new. That when this discussion was going on, that's when we could have made our position known. But you understand the terrain. Many persons are too busy or not even too educated to know how this will affect them. And now that it has been put, on the front burner, that's why we're having this conversation. I'd like you to answer two questions very quickly before Evelyn comes on. I ask you, what exact percentage, are we talking about
Yes, sir.
And that particular law,
according to the
Alhaji Mojeed, that particular law,
yes,
what was it meant to serve? What purpose was it meant to serve? And the levy.
okay. Let me go to let me go to your question sharply.
Yes, please.
The percentage is 0.5%,
Okay.
which translates to half percent. Half percent. I don't know whether you understand what I'm saying.
Yes.
Is 0.05%, which translates to half percent. That means 50% of one.
Okay.
Are you with me?
Yeah.
And that was what the act says, that the bank will be responsible for the collection and the remittance. In fact, there is called a sanction. The circular that was released by Central Bank of Nigeria to all banks on the 6th of this month, we are giving 2 weeks to ensure that
Mr. Mojeed.
Wow.
Network really.
There is one conversation we can't afford not to have.
Yeah.
Especially, and he's been making so much.
That was lost in Charan.
Okay.
So we were giving 2 weeks.
Are you with us, Alhaji
back,
Salami?
sir. So we're given 2 weeks. Yes, I'm with you now.
Okay, please.
So, yeah, we were given 2 weeks for the implementation. So, and failure to do that, there's equally a sanction. So, what I'm saying, in essence, there's nothing bank can do for now. But a good news, a number of transactions have been accepted. Your salary payment is accepted. Your loan disbursement and loan, loan repayment is accepted. If you are making a transfer within the bank, it's accepted. If you are making a transfer to another bank, it's equally accepted. But when you look at that policy, it's going to add more on the rich than the poor. Although the poor equally make transfers, but what is the volume of the transfer we made? I'm talking about the poor. But the rich, the volume of the volume of amount of transfer they do make between one account to another account. So the burden will be more on the rich than the poor. And that is why the riches are now shouting too. However, nobody is not making use of SMS. Whether you are rich, whether you are poor, nobody is not sending money to his children, whether you are rich or you are poor. All this, if a company, for example, an individual, you bear the bond, because by the time the bank deducted the money, the entire bond goes to the consumer. I'm talking about the person that made that transfers. Right. Now, after that one, if it is company, the company will add that cost to the cost of production or to the cost of rendering that services. And when
okay, we take it as it comes this morning. We'll try and do, just right by what the connection allows us to have this morning. These are the offshoot. By the way, we are talking about cybersecurity. We hope the cyberspace is secure this morning. We'll have this conversation. Yeah. All right. And are you with us now?
Yes, I'm back, sir.
All right. My colleague is here. We might just have to butt in at this point. Yeah. Please hold on, sir.
Mr. Mojeed, are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm with you.
All right. Okay. So, please finish your thoughts.
Yeah, when this is added, it's going to increase the cost of goods and services.
All right, so what you're saying is, at the end of the day, it is the consumer or the customer that bears the brunt of it all. If you're still with us, Mr. Mojeed, I would like to ask a question. Can you confirm that you're still with us? All right.
This is a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's been shaky,
yeah,
shaky communication this morning with Mr. Mojeed, and it is actually very important we have this conversation with him. He has also made mention of the exemptions that were given for this particular levy, the interbank transfers, loan transactions, and all of that, that they are being exempted from this levy. But then, SERAP actually in their statement called this directive by the CBN. All right, Mr. Mojeed, we understand that Mr. Mojeed is back with us. Are you there, Mr. Mojeed?
Yes, I'm back, sir, ma'am.
Okay, so the SERAP in its statement continually referred to the directive of the CBN, on the Cybersecurity Levy as unlawful. I'd like to read part of their statement. It says, and this is calling for the withdrawal of that directive by the CBN. It says, if this unlawful CBN directive is not withdrawn and appropriate steps are not taken to amend the repressive provisions of the Cyber Crimes Act within 48 hours, SERAP shall consider appropriate legal actions to compel the Tinubu administration to comply with the request in the public interest. And it says, withdrawing the unlawful CBN directive and repealing the repressive provisions of the Cyber Crimes Act 2024 will be entirely consistent with President Tinubu's constitutional oath of office, which requires public officials to uphold the provisions of the Constitution and the rule of law and abstain from all improper acts. I'd like you to react to that. The SERAP calling the directive by the CBN for this cybersecurity levy to be deducted from, account or transfers as unlawful. How do you react to that? And also their call for Mr. President to actually repeal the provisions of the Cyber Crimes Act 2024.
Yeah, thank you. There's no ignorance in law. For SERAP to say that it is unlawful, I want to believe that they don't even understand what we call arts. Federal government is more smarter than them. It's not an executive order, it's an art. The only difference is that the period of implementation and the process of an enactment is different. It's has been enacted, and when something is enacted, how can you now say it's unlawful? The only thing that can change is to take them to court. If the court now say that, okay, they should revisit the act, fine. But they have got us unaware, including the person who is talking. When there is this first reading, second reading, public opinion, blah, blah, where were we? None of us came out to even know the content. Even myself, it was after this something that I took my time to read the act. You understand? So, and that is what will always happen. Don't let us be an ignorance of law. SERAP, Nigeria, NLC, should have a permanent person, lawyer, at the National Assembly to know what is going on there. So that it's not going to be campaign after the election. The government is ready. They are going to spend our money to go to court with SERAP. But knowing fully that it was enacted. It's not that it's an executive order that just say you'll be deducting 0.05 from transaction on electronic transactions.
So are you saying that
danger?
Are you saying that there's nothing, Mr. President? I mean, they're calling on Mr. President to repeal, the provisions of the Cyber Crimes Act 2024. There's nothing Mr. President can do about this.
It's not in the hand of Mr. President again. That is my position. He can, if at his own discretion, he can give directive that it should be suspended for a while, for them to revisit it. If happen that government have not made up their mind. But if government have made up their mind, it's not going to suspend anything. For example, look at it yesterday. This SS withdrawal or SS cash lodgement, CBN suspended it yesterday. The government can equally do that. Because I personally, now we are talking of financial inclusion. that people should be put on board bank accounts. We have been on that policy since 2014 or 2012, rather, if I can remember.
Cashless policy.
Now, this one is called as a policy.
Yes.
You understand? Now, this one is coming out now. People would now prefer to put their money in the house because they know that any money that goes to the bank, when they want to transfer it again, there's going to be charges on it. No, now, when you get to our banks now, you will see that there is shortage of cash. People withdraw more than what they deposited in the banks. Now, this policy again, now saying that when you transfer to another person, certain percentage of amount will be deducted. You understand? That's going to be a counterproductive to existing, what's it called, existing financial inclusion policy. So, but our government, you know, like this government, I said, any way, any means, any way, anyhow, they need revenue. They want to improve on the revenue. Look at the issue of subsidy. Who is enjoying it now? It is the state government and federal government. We are not enjoying it. I don't know. Maybe you are enjoying it. I don't know. But I, as person, I don't think that nobody, Nigerians are not enjoying the subsidy as at present. The governors, they have a lot of money to play with now. The federal government equally have a lot of money to play with now. The same thing with this cyber security levy. The same thing with this. By the time they start deducting the money, you will see that before you know it, we're talking of trillions. So that is just my take.
All right,
on the
Mr. Mojeed, to play the devil's advocate here, you know, there have been calls from, you know, consumers, customers of banks, you know, calling out their banks for some, you know, fraudulent activities on their accounts, you know, removal of their money from their accounts, deduction if you press a link and all of that. And over time, people have called for the government to do something about this. And the government coming out with this cybersecurity levy, don't you think it's in a way to help these actually work out so we do not have more cyber crimes, and also to protect the customers of the banks? And if I am to protect your fund, then you should be able to part with a little sum for me to do that job.
Okay. One, I don't believe in eating charges. I don't believe in it. Yeah, because it's amounted to fraud. But as a banker, the bank has the right to deduct directly from the customer's account charges, fee, interest, without consent of the customer, However, but apart from that, no bank has the right to deduct anything without authorization, apart from the fee, the bank's fee, without the authorization of the customer. And that is why by the time you want to open your account, in your form, it must have been stated that you have, they can deduct their charges. Also, federal government, when there is a policy, and this is Central Bank of Nigeria giving the directives that certain something must be done, like the fact, you know, when you collect COT, I'm talking of maintenance fee now, VAT must be deducted. If you fail to deduct that VAT, the law puts it upon you that it is that bank that will be responsible for the payment. Then who are you protecting? The same thing this now. Failure to deduct 2% of your turnover, you suffer for it.
All right.
Who are you protecting?
Yeah, Alaji Salami, we understand we must go because time is really of essence. You know, we've talked about exemptions, like part of what we are seeing here: salary payments, loan disbursement and repayment, interbank placement,
interbranch transfers within a bank, letters of credit, transaction involving banks' internal accounts, non-profit and charitable transactions, intrabank transfers, and savings and deposits, including transactions involving long-term investment and the likes. Many people, some professionals are saying, in as much we have these exemptions there, like, should there still be need for Nigerians to still be complaining because the exemptions, is something that the only remaining parts are something negligible? Do you succumb to that school of thought as well, that there are exemptions, many?
All right, we understand that we have disconnected with Alhaji Salami Olalekan Mojeed, and we can even take that as a roll-up for the conversation. Yeah. Chairman, Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, CIBN, Osun State, joined us virtually. That's in the person of Mr. Salami Olalekan Mojeed, speaking on the recently controversial cybersecurity levy. The conversation definitely is still ongoing, and we will see the reactions from the government and, of course, from the legislators. They are supposed to be the representative of the people. So if they actually read through the bill, debated on it, why didn't they consider the interest of the people? Why is it that it's the people that are kicking against this policy now? So a lot of conversations from this, but we'll go for this break. We will come back with another topic, still on economy, still on policy, still on finance. It's still Morning Spring, but we'll be right back. Welcome back. It's still Morning Spring right here on Western Spring Television, and this is the part 2 of the conversation this morning. And like I said earlier on, we are still, focusing on the economy and also policy being released by the federal government through the Central Bank of Nigeria. Recently, we heard that the Central Bank of Nigeria released, a new policy or directive for what we can consider alternative banking centers, known as the point of sales operators, POS operators. When you get to the bank, a lot of people now make use of POS agents for their banking transactions. Nobody wants to go to the bank to wait on the line or on the queue to make transaction, especially if it's not a bulky transaction. You can go to any POS agent just 2 houses away from your house to do your transaction, and you're out in, within a twinkle of an eye. And this recent policy by the CBN is directing all point of sales operators to complete registration with the Corporate Affairs Commission, CAC. And of course, they gave July 7, 2024 deadline for this to happen. This was revealed during a meeting between fintechs and the Registrar General, or the Chief Executive Officer, CAC, Hussaini Magaji, SAN, in Abuja. That was last week. But then, to make sense of this conversation this morning, we are joined by a major stakeholder today, who is in charge, we can say is the #1 POS operator in Osun State. Okay, joining us this morning is Comrade Badiru Asimiyu Olawale. He is the Chairman, Association of Mobile Money and Bank Agents in Nigeria, AMBAN, the Osun State chapter. Good morning, sir, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. Good morning, people in the house.
Thank you.
My name is Olawale Badru. I'm the chairman of AMBAN. Nice to be here.
Okay, so let's just get right into it, Mr. Comrade Badru. This new policy by the CBN, I'd like you to elaborate expatiate on it for our viewers who really do not know the, the pieces in that particular directive or policy by the CBN. what it entails and how your members are going about it.
Okay, thank you very much. You see, this policy is not new. And of course, it is in line with the agency banking guideline, which was released by the Central Bank of Nigeria. And also in line with the Corporate Affairs and Allied Matters Commission law, which stipulates that every business that operates has to be registered. And this has been on for quite some years. The CAC, as an agency of government, has been pushing for the registration of businesses. But in line with the agency banking framework that was issued by the CBN, there are two categories of agents. The first is the individual agents, and the second is non-individual agents. These two categories of agents, the non-individual has to be registered, while the individual is not compulsory to be registered by the CAC. So what the CBN and the CAC are currently doing is to ensure that non-individual agents that are operating as agents without their business names being registered now have between now and July 7 to get registered. So we don't have any issue with that, and we believe it is the right way to go in that direction. So the concern that we now have is that, in fact, we can say that it's already in the process, because some 1 or 2 months ago, there was a directive from the CBN establishing the NIN and BVN compulsory alignment with the accounts. And this fintech and even the banks have carried out this process. And those that are using business names that were not registered by the CAC were downgraded to individual agents. Until they are able to register as agents, they may not be able to use the business name for their transactions any longer. But they are not stopped from transacting as individual agents using their personal name. So that is allowed.
Okay, so what you're saying is for the individual agents, they make use of their name,
Yes.
their person as the business, for the business.
Exactly.
But for the non-individual agents, they have a company name.
That has to be registered.
Okay. But then I'd like to ask, before my colleague comes in, for the individual agents, what actually makes up an individual? He has a shop. He has. I want to know.
Okay.
You know,
yes,
how that plays out.
The difference between the two is that there is a cap to the number of transactions that you can carry out, that you can consummate at your locations. For example, now as an individual, you cannot carry out a single transaction above 500,000 naira. If you are operating as an individual whose business name is not registered on the account.
Single transaction.
Exactly.
Or daily?
No, single transaction.
500,000.
Okay.
And also there is a cap on the daily transaction as well. So you may not be able to go beyond that amount as well. The moment you hit that figure, in that account, you can no longer make transactions.
All right.
But as a business, the capping is far more. That's in this level 1, level 2, up to level 5. So if you're up to level 3, you can consummate transactions up to 1 million. If you're up to, yes, if you're up to level 5, which means your business name is fully registered with the CAC and it is active on their portal, you can be upgraded to the level 5, which allows you to carry out a single transaction of 5 million, and there is no limitation to the number of transactions you can do. So it means that if you are operating as an individual agent, there is limitation to how far you can go on the transactions you can do. That's the difference.
It's good to know. So I'd like to ask you, because you said these things are not new, actually. So why is this sudden noise about it? What's the issue around it?
Yes, the reason why it becomes, let me say that a lot of things are going on the background that are not actually known to the public.
Right.
So until when it is made public that people get to know things that are going on.
Kindly share with us.
You know, recently there is a CBN directive that gives banks to increase their capitalization from the whole 25 billion to 200 billion. on their savings with the CBN. That has been going on the background. And now there is another CBN directive which has limited the number of accounts that agents can have. We believe that all of these are not in line with the intendment of the agency banking and financial inclusion, because limiting agency capacity would definitely reverse the gains we have already recorded on the financial inclusion drive that the CBN has championed. So we are appealing to the government to look at these policies very well so that we won't be driving back from the progress level that we have already achieved. So another thing that you need to know now is that some mobile money operators are presently suspended from opening accounts to new customers. You must have read this in the news recently that some MMOs were not allowed to carry out opening of account due to some suspicious cyber-related, what do we call it? Suspicious. So we know that these are part of things that can drive back the gains of the financial inclusion, because many people now want to register account, they cannot do that seamlessly like they used to do before. So we appeal to government that when they are bringing up policies, they should not throw out the bathwater with the baby. They should try to separate
now, are you
these
talking
issues.
about that particular news you're talking about has to do with fintechs, the PalmPay, the OPays of this
Yes,
world, that they have limited new account openings,
You have banned it already.
banned it, and it's affecting your business?
Definitely. Definitely.
Okay.
We open account for these fintech companies. We equally issue ATM cards to them. So if you cannot open account, definitely you cannot issue ATM. And these people are already being financially excluded because their interest to be included. But once this is not available, definitely they are being excluded. And if you remember too, recently the CBN policy on NIN and BVN linkage has already resolved a lot of the concerns that the CBN may be having. But we still see this as policy some and sort, because from where we are coming, we're still going back to that level, which is not good for the economy.
The government gave their reasons why they took that decision, that some scrupulous elements are doing some businesses that are illegal.
Yeah,
Fraudulent activities going on with some of these fintechs. And, that some of those things are not easily done with the regular deposit money banks, but it is easier with these, fintechs, and that's why they are doing that. And so maybe they are still, I don't brief for them, but maybe they are still trying to see what they can do about it. But AMBAN is your organization. You are the chairman of the state chapter here in Osun State. You have the national body. Are they seeking audience with the financial regulator, that's the CBN, to see how is this affecting you? How can this be resolved? Is your national body or your state chapter, doing something in that regard?
Definitely we are doing it. I must remind you that last week, Thursday, we had a symposium in the Shogo here, and the CBN were powerfully represented. We conversed, and there was a lot of discussions around all these issues, with which we had resolutions. And our belief is that the so-called crime or criminal tendencies that are operating and the fintech are also operating at the regular banks. We don't want to mention names. It affects all financial institutions, irrespective of names. So, but what we have noted is that the singling out of these fintechs and trying to, give them a bad name may not be good for the economy.
It seems like you are more or less fighting for the fintechs.
No, we're not doing that.
They should be fighting their battle themselves, isn't
We're not doing that. What we are doing is to ensure that the financial inclusion is working, because it affects agents as well. You understand? The fact remains that if all these issues are going on, the agency banking that has now become a very good ground for many youths to get employed, people will become devastated, and there might be tendencies for them going into other crimes. Because now, if this thing continues, there will be joblessness again. Many people will dump this job and look for some other things to do. And it will equally reverse back major gains that we have already recorded. You know that government issued cashless policy last year,
Right.
and that policy in itself had a lot of effects on the economy. And if we now say that people should now go back to cash-based transactions if they can no longer use their bank for transactions, definitely we will be facing a lot of challenges. Now, you asked about the question of interfacing with the regulatory bodies. Definitely, we are doing that. And at the national and at the state level, we have the relationship with the regulatory bodies. We are surprised that on Monday, when the CAC had a meeting with the fintechs, this matter is not about fintechs, it's about us as agents. It's not the fintech that will register agents with the CAC, but the agent that will register themselves with the CAC. So we expect that CAC will have called AMBAN as the umbrella body for all agents to interface with us. Already we have arrangements on how agents will register their companies with the CAC, because it's what we have been talking about for a long time. And we can even say that many agents have their businesses registered. So there's no big issue around that. But, you know, when the news carries matters like that, there's a lot of dynamics around it, and that is what we are seeing.
Comrade Badro, let me ask you this. These meetings, negotiations you'll be having with the regulators, you know, the CBN, and that has to do with the activities of, you know, some people using the fintechs, have they singled out that these fraudulent activities are carried out, you know, through the platform of your members? Have they been able to tell you that? Because the news said it has to do with fintechs and some fraudulent activities which could have been done by individuals that are not POS operators.
Definitely.
Have they told you that these actions are being done using the terminal or using the platforms of your members?
No, there's never been that position at any point in time. The point that was stated is that POS are being used. They never said POS operators.
Okay.
So POS.
But you are the operator.
Yes, they are.
Your members, rather.
Yes, we understand. There are different ways by which people access terminals, and that is why terminals have identification numbers. With this TID, we believe that regulatory bodies can track down any criminal tendency operated on a point of sale terminal. But what we have seen now is that these are being sidelined and now attacking POS operators. As an association, we train our members regularly, and our members have great level of integrity. We cannot allow fraudulent transactions to be carried out at our various locations. But you know, these unscrupulous elements, they have various tactics that they make use of.
That's what I want to say. How will you know?
So we wouldn't know if such happens. But there is also the whistleblowing law, which also encourages agents, when they see such situation, they report accordingly. And you know, this matter...
Who do they report to?
Yes, we have the security agencies all over the place. And we have EFCC as well, that also handles financial and crimes matters like that.
But only a trained and, you know, very cerebral operator can recognize if actually something untoward is happening.
Exactly.
Do you have your members with that kind of CV that can recognize when something is, you know, fishy is going on?
Yes,
because many persons will see it as good business. Business is coming.
Very well, very well. I can tell you that yesterday, an fraudulent transaction like that was directed around me. But because I am very well enlightened and educated on identifying a fraudulent approach, I got it flagged and it got handled the way he liked. You understand? So our members are very well trained. We cannot speak for those that are not presenting themselves to be educated. And on a daily basis, we hear various stories of even agents being defrauded. You understand? Because they don't have proper knowledge about it. That is why we say all agents should join AMBAN and be well educated so that on these issues they will be properly guided on identifying fraudulent transactions and individuals. So that is very well playing out. We have arrested a lot of criminals in the recent time that go to POS agents to perform fraudulent transactions. So we have a lot of stories around that
What
people get
about
arrested.
some of your agents that probably collaborate with this frauds to, you know,
We cannot say
make
such
out
people
these
are our
transactions?
agents. They are not our members. So to say,
So you're saying that there are quite a number of agents, let's say for instance in Osun State, that are not members of AMBAN but operate POS
you know,
centers.
there is two categories of people that use this terminal. We have agent bankers and we also have merchants.
Yeah.
The merchants are those that operate business places, that make use of terminals, and the terminal they are collecting is supposed to be used for collections. It's not supposed to be used for cash in and cash out.
Payment.
Because
Supposed
they are
to
not
be for payment.
yes,
just like
they are
that,
not
sir.
certified
Yeah.
agents. They are merchants. And because all these things have been mixed up, our people, you know how they abuse opportunities like that. They themselves have now become agents. And the majority of them are those that have issues with fraudulent people. You understand? Because they don't have the knowledge on usage of terminals for cash in and cash out transactions. And when you see such people, they also call them POS operators. Whereas they are not. They are merchants. But because they have turned themselves to another thing, they see themselves as operators as well. And that's what caused the
I think
confusion.
Evelyn is talking about if there are some of your members who connive
I
with these fraudsters,
I cannot
you know,
say
to
that.
carry out these
Fraudulent
irregularities.
transactions.
Does it mean that you do disown them
Yes,
anytime
definitely.
they do that?
We
But
don't-
that doesn't mean they don't exist.
We don't
Is that what you're
encourage
saying?
that.
Okay.
What we can say that AMBA members, they are registered, they are issued with ID card, they are issued with certificates, they are trained. We now have a relationship with this CIBN, Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, on agency certification, which is in directive with the CBN, that agents are properly certified. They have their license. If any agents are caught in the web of conniving with criminals to perpetrate fraudulent transactions, they can be arrested and tried in the court of law. But what we have learned in the recent time is that, you know, some people are, through their relationship, personal relationship, they are involved unknowingly. And when that happens, we try to help to separate the two issues. You know, there was a recent case like that in Evelyn, that some, I think some kidnappers, they kidnapped someone, they used the POS operator's account to collect ransom, and he got nabbed. So when we intervened, the criminals were finally arrested and handed over to the law enforcement agent. And that is because they were able to utilize the personal relationship they had with the POS operator. And he never knew they were involved in kidnapping activities. You understand? So we could never say that could never happen, because many people are, you see their face, you never knew what they are capable of doing. So that is the situation.
All right, taking you back to that conversation on fintechs not being able to, you know, open bank accounts for, you know, Nigerians. You called it probably a possible policy somersault, because the federal government is working towards financial inclusion and also cashless policy,
Exactly.
and then banning these fintechs will not enable people or encourage more people to come on board banking, you know, using banking transactions. Do you consider this a rivalry between the fintechs and the DMBs?
No, we could never say that. But what we will advise is that whenever a government is going to introduce a policy, there should be a consultative forum of the stakeholders, so that everybody is on the table. Bring your ideas, let us relate our minds together, because on most of the occasions they are not on the interlands. They never knew what was going on at the grassroots level. We are the ones that are everywhere, that knows what actually transpires at the interlands. So they need our experience, they need our information to guide them in driving these policies. So if these situations have been taken care of in the background before they arrived at their decisions, we believe that they will have taken more and well-informed decisions that will be all inclusive, you understand, so that it will not be a policy somersault as what we would likely have now. So that is what we are saying. The government should look around it, and if they suspect anything, they should investigate what they have suspected and not generalize the whole issue that will have snowballed into another round of policy somersaults.
All right. Since we have you here, there was a time this year, I mean, it started last year, but I think this year we also experienced it, talk about cash shortage, where, you know, your members complained about not having enough cash. They go to banks, and what they are given is 5,000 naira per transaction, 10,000 naira per transaction, and it really hit hard on the final customers who had to pay more. And I dare say this, that even till now, you know, your fees have increased, you know, by your, I'm talking about your operators now. If you go to cash out some money, the fees, the charges you get have increased than what we used to have before. So since you're here,
and it even varies at times.
yes, since you're here, you might want to actually clarify what is obtainable at this time, and if your agents, if your members are getting enough cash from the banks.
Okay, thank you for that. You know that we also deal with a new policy now, Cybersecurity Levy. That's another issue on its own.
Okay.
That is going to cause another round of issues around the banking system. Because now, you know, the economy itself is not properly in shape in terms of fuel, in terms of transport cost, in terms of every logistics around the businesses. They have all changed in terms of increasing in cost. You understand? Even up to now, cash is still not very much available.
Your members don't get enough cash from banks.
Yes, and there are indices to that effect. And that indices will still be exacerbated now with this new cybersecurity levy. Because the levy now stipulates that on every transaction, there will be another round of levy at 0.05%, which is a very big chunk of money.
How does that affect you? Isn't it supposed to be issues of the regular banks and the deposit money banks? Does this have to do with POS operations as well?
The charges are on electronic transfers. Do not forget.
Of which
we had a
that's
major.
what you do. Yeah.
Yes, in this aspect, because we are the one that, you know, aids trading activities around the country. Once this is introduced, a serious issue now. On 500,000, you should be expected a charge for the, levy for cybersecurity of 2,500.
Yeah.
So how much is the agent going to charge the customer? When this money goes to another account, that person also needs to move it to another account, another charges, to another account, another charges. And this round continues. Honestly, it's not affordable. And what it's going to do is that it will discourage more people using cashless transactions. People will now run and go back to cash-based business because they will definitely run from these levies. It's not affordable. What was in the
and we don't even have
original law
of the same cash.
And those are the reasons. The cashless policy of last year is what affected low level of deposit of money in the bank. Because people now knows that even if they need this money, they face trouble in getting it. So some people prefer to even keep the money at home. Now look at the security challenges that will follow that. In the past, we used to have serious robbery at various banks. But now, since the cash has been decentralized by the influence of agents, you can see that there is a serious low robbery cases now. But because these policies are now coming back to reverse all these achievements that we have had, definitely it will be a serious battle now.
No wonder you call it a policy somersault.
Definitely.
So it's like
it now.
It's like us moving one step forward and two steps backward.
So we just want to encourage the president that the renewed hope on the financial inclusion and the digital economy. A workshop just held some 2 weeks ago at the Asofila, where our association was very much on ground to guide the government. The vice president was in attendance. We have a lot of conclusions at that level. But with these new policies now, all these gains will be defeated. And we now wonder whose interest is being pushed if the people that are supposed to be the major beneficiary of government policies will now be the people to suffer for it. So we plead to the government to reconsider these policies. We learned that CBN suspended charges on deposits some 2 days ago till September. And that is another policy that has been in place for like 2 years now, but they could not even implement it due to the veracity of issues around it. And this is even more serious than that one. So our belief is that the president will wedge in and try to do something to make things better for the
your
people.
association, have you registered your, disapproval of this new policy? I'm talking about the cybersecurity
Yes,
levy.
we are communicating with the government, and we believe they will listen to us.
All right, Comrade Badru, you actually kind of invaded my question when I spoke to the clarifications as to what your charges are
Yes,
like now.
I spoke to that. I said the economic indices, you know, in any business, there is supply and demand
So there is
factors.
no uniform charges?
No, you can't say there will be uniform charges because the peculiarity of each region is different. You understand? For example, now you cannot say that someone in Ila that has to come down to Oshobo before you could access any available cash.
Yeah.
We charge the same thing with someone beside First Bank. You understand? The factors are very
Will this not lead to
proportional.
exploitation?
It's not exploitation. What they do is to charge patriotically. That has always been our focal point. That whatever you do, make sure there is patriotism in your charging.
How do you measure, you know, the patriotism of your, how they charge patriotically, using your word now, by your agents, you know? Do you give room for,
patriotic are
do you give room for
there is-
customers to
there
actually
is-
make
there is
complaints?
capping.
Okay.
What capping means is that the maximum.
I
that
need you
you
to
should not
tell
go
us the
beyond.
capping here.
Yes.
Let our viewers be informed.
Yes, 5,000 naira is 100 naira, and the capping is 150. You understand now? And the same goes for 10,000, 200 naira, and the capping is 300.
So if an agent
Considering
charges
the
200 naira,
factors.
if an agent charges 200 naira for a 5,000 naira transaction, that agent is exploiting the customer. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that is possible. But you know that sometimes the economic factors determine, like I said, the transport has gone haywire now. The fuel, the same thing. Look at what we faced the last 2 weeks. So look at the cost of transport from how much to how much. So when such situations happens, you never can tell that you are above or you are below.
Comrade,
But
let me
what
create-
we want is that the stability in the economy, and that is what is going to regulate.
Let me create a
everything.
scenario here for somebody, and I'm telling you an experience in Oshobo, here in Agumbelewo,
I don't know.
who before these 2 weeks you're talking about of fair scarcity, who will naturally say, how much can I, get 5,000 naira? And the person says, it's 200 naira in Agumbelewo here. How patriotic can that person be? I'm telling you an experience. That person is not, this is Agumbelewo in Oshobo, not in Iliogbo or Shekono or somewhere in Ijebujesha. No, here. How patriotic can that
So what
person
did you
be?
do as a customer? What did you do? Did you obtain the transaction?
You know that sometimes that somebody is in a fix. You don't have a
couldn't be in the
choice.
fix. We have many agents all over the place. So you know that the economy is serious now.
Yeah.
Many agents are closing down because they cannot sustain the economy. Sometimes people travel from far place down to Oshobo, and in the long run they couldn't get anything. They went back with nothing.
Yeah.
People like that had that experience 1 to 3 days. We think of something else to do.
No, I'm talking to the
I
patriotic
understand.
part that
Yes,
you talk about.
yes.
That
So
scenario
what we are
of
saying is
somebody
that
charging as high. That means with 10,000 naira, instead of 200 naira or 300 naira, that person is collecting 400 naira.
we appeal to such
And then
people.
you just walk down and you see somebody still doing the regular one. So what happens to that person? How patriotic? Has that person
we
been?
appeal to such people. We may not
Because
say,
there is human factor.
that is just it. We appeal to such people to play with mercy. I mean, what do we say? They have to ensure that whatever we do, there is humanity in our matters, so that the people can feel. We are all feeling it together.
Do you have
So-
disciplinary actions for any members?
Definitely, we have. We have a disciplinary committee that handles serious issues of indiscipline.
Is
in
it
our
enforceable? Do you enforce this?
We have it. Even the governor's representative that was at our symposium inaugurated the joint task force, which has the combination of the security agents and our members as the committee.
Do you have feedback channels where customers who feel
Yes.
they have not gotten the best of service can, report?
Yes, we have
your-
secretariat, we have phone numbers that are public, we have officers that can be reached various places. So we are not secret people.
And it won't look like somebody is...
And we also come here very often.
Yeah,
so
and it won't look like somebody is doing what we call on the street babele for the other person. When you try to report, you know, a very unprofessional approach and what you have experienced, a very bad experience, and to somebody that lives around you, and the operator feels, oh, this is somebody hating on me. You know how people say it.
You know, there are ways of reporting anonymously. You don't really need to disclose your identity. You understand? But ensure that whatever you are going to report is genuine and verifiable. So when that is done,
and your association will
exactly,
take it up.
Definitely.
Okay, let me ask you this. We'll be talking about fintechs and the rest of them. Don't you bank or do business with the deposit money banks? Because you've been talking about fintechs and fintechs.
No, why not?
And
we do.
And
we
it
do.
seems whatever affects fintechs,
I can tell you that at our symposium,
how about the deposit money banks?
We are all together. We even meet together at the CBN level. We have fiscal, Financial Inclusion and State Steering Committee, which is a committee of the Central Bank of Nigeria. Amban is a member, Apple is a member, the microfinance people are members, and also the bankers committee are members. So we all meet together. Then we also interact together. Our members use many of their agent networks for their businesses. We have the First Bank, we have the FCMB, we have the Senate Bank, we have the Polaris Shop Party. We have many of them that are also into the agency banking, and we work with all of them. The access closer is also there.
If somebody wants to start this business of yours today, and I'm saying this for people watching who perhaps feel it's something I can do, maybe the job, quote unquote, is not forthcoming, what should be the first action of the person? What should the person do?
Yes, the first action is that that person needs training and orientation on the job.
Where does he get it?
We have that platform under Amban. Even we have stakeholder VIPs now that now consult us for empowerment programs. Okay. We just ended one with Honorable Gangaria. He sponsored about 100 of his constituents to be empowered in agency banking and handle that for them. We did the training for them, we certified them, and after that we took them to places where they can get the terminals, they get onboarded, and they are issued with terminal, and now starting their businesses, and they register with the association.
Let me ask you again, as we wind down, I saw a video recently about you know, a fraudulent activity that was performed in which somebody says, you know, goes to an operator and say, okay, I want to have 30,000 naira. And the operator presses 30,000 naira, and he hands over the terminal to the person, put your PIN, and the person changes the 30,000 naira to 3,000 naira. You know, and fortunately the person was caught. But these are the challenges. I never saw that committee. I saw that video, and I've seen a couple of videos like that. These are challenges in your business as well. Can you please really, do we have that situation in Osun?
It is everywhere.
And what should people be wary of?
Those are part of the things that we train agents during the training programs, during symposium and conferences. That was the case in Elisha recently. Okay. The customer went to the agent, wanted to withdraw, and he distracted the agent by saying, please help me to pick this card. I dropped this, my key has dropped, please help me to pick it. Before he knew, the money has been stolen. And before the person carries the head up again, it's gone. So these are kind of experiences that we see here with our people to get alerted of these criminal tendencies. So I wonder when the policy says that the fraudulent activities are carried out at agent locations, they have never even find out what we are facing on the field as agents. There are a lot of criminal people that visit agent location with the mindset to defraud them. So we always train our members to be wary of such people, and some of them are being nabbed in the real sense of it, and we get them to pay for the offenses they have committed. So we encourage the agent or the prospective agent to always prioritize training and professional conduct in their affairs. We have the documentation, the KYC documentation for every transaction. Just KYC documentation always help in tracking down criminals whenever they are flagged, either by the security agencies.
Comrade, you have spoken very highly of your members. They are well trained, they are patriotic using your words,
Thank
by
you.
the way. But then, and it means that if I, as a consumer, as a customer, have issues with any of your agents, I can easily, activate any of those channels of reaching to you. How do I identify
Very good.
somebody that's your member?
Thank you very much.
Because
That
we
is-
have them all over the
That
place.
is exactly what I want to talk about. For you to, whenever you want to do a transaction, first of all, find out whether that person is a member of AMBAN.
How do I
Because
do that?
any member of AMBAN will never defraud you, will never conduct unprofessionally. You will see the certificate boldly displayed at their location. You will see the membership sticker displayed, and that person will have membership ID card. Even in their conduct, you will know that this is a professional agent
Do
banker.
I tell the operator to show me the ID card?
You can, why not? It is part of the CBN's policy now that agents must be certified. They must be properly trained. And it is part of the mandate given to fintech and agency banks presently that they must ensure that the agents operate professionally in their conducts. So these are part of the things that the people in the public should look out to. Because for you to identify an agent that will not defraud you, you will see the membership sticker, like Yoruba people used to do. So that is the exact explanation. People that belong to associations, people that have ID card, people that have certificate, they will be careful in
Are
involving
they supposed to be
in
hanging
criminal
the ID
tendencies.
card on their neck? Are they supposed to be doing that?
They can do that, yes.
But I've
it's
never seen
compulsory.
one
It's
that
not
does
compulsory. We do that regularly. But what you will always look out for is the sticker and the certificate that are displayed.
On their
at
kiosk.
Yes, on their kiosk.
It's supposed to be there.
Exactly.
Do they know these things?
They know it. Yes. They
The
know it.
members?
You can ask any member. They will tell you.
So you're advising any customer now
Yeah.
who goes to a POS center, if he or she doesn't see that sticker and the certificates, should not do business with that person.
It is encouraged because that is how to certify that you are dealing with a professional agent banker. You understand? Because when you go to bank, you see bankers well dressed, you see them display their ID card, you also see on their wall the certificate of their incorporation and all of that. You know that you are dealing with a real business person, not people that are unkept. You don't deal with agents under umbrella. You don't deal with all cars people.
Really? But
yes.
how many of them?
You don't deal with
You
people
mean
like
your
that.
members doesn't use
They don't do
the
that.
big umbrella?
Yes, they don't use it.
How about these guys that
They don't walk around.
Aha,
People
I
like
want to
that.
ask, you
They
see them at motor parks.
even presently they have been tracked down by the security agencies because it's not in line with agency banking. There are stipulations, there are conditions for agent bankers. First of all, you must have a location, either a shop or a kiosk that is permanent.
Okay.
You don't move around with just bag and a poster on your back and say you are a POS operator. If anything happens, don't you run away?
Accessibility
How do
and
you locate some people?
accessibility, comrade, accessibility and mobility isn't all part of the business, making things easier.
Making things easier is it, but not making things fraudulently easier. Because it is easier to perpetrate fraud when you are on the bike and you say you are doing transaction, or you are under umbrella that you can just park in a minute and run away. So you must be in a location that is close to the people, that people in your area knows you, and they can even certify that go to that place. That is a confirmed
All right,
person.
I must say that it has been an enlightening conversation with
very
you,
much.
Comrade Badru Asimiyu Olawale.
Thank you very much.
Comrade Olawale is the chairman, Association of Mobile Money and Bank Agents in Nigeria, AMBAN, the Osun State chapter. Thank you for your time this morning and for your thoughts and submissions on the topic of discuss today. We appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
All right, and our viewers, that is where we draw the curtain this morning on Morning Spring. We know that definitely you have learned a lot, and you've also been educated on a whole lot of things, especially as to some policies that have been released by the Central Bank of Nigeria. We'll come again tomorrow for another interesting time on Morning Spring. It's going to be the TGIF edition, and of course you know that is my best day of the week. All right, till we come your way tomorrow, ensure that you connect with us via our different social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook and X at Western Spring Television, and of course you can watch a recap of this particular edition on YouTube at Western Spring Television. My name is Evelyn Ohiolei. Have for yourself a good day.
My name is Femi, and just like Comrade has said, make sure you patronize the patriotic, POS operators as well. And of course, trust us to always bring to you on the front burner issues of public importance. God bless Nigeria. Bye.